Achilles. And that, of course, is a little more than a month after the blood clot diagnosis, which kept him out for more than a month. Of course, Lillard had just returned to the floor in Game 2. Nothing official from the team yet. I know you guys have been around the game long enough to have the same thought that I had, which was that it was probably an Achilles just because of the way he reacted and where he grabbed. Officially, we don't know anything yet, but it certainly doesn't look good. And for a Milwaukee team that is suffering in this series and feels like it may be at a crossroads, this could be a franchise-changing injury.
Yeah, it definitely can because, with all the turmoil that they've had there with, not being in a position where they want to compete at a high level. Of course, they finish, fifth or wherever they are now. They usually at first or second. You talk about, renewing Giannis's contract, which they just did. You talk about what we're going to do with Dame in the summertime. And then they made a big move to get Kyle Kuzma. It's like every move they've been making since the firing of their head coach and bringing in Doc has been one of those things that have them spiraling out of in the wrong direction. For me, they really going to have to assess where they want to go with this team in the summertime because, without Dame, they don't have a chance of beating the Pacers. So it's going to be very difficult all season for them. What are they going to do? But right now, you just got to send prayers out for Dame.
Well, and again, I don't want to over-speculate on the injury. If it is an Achilles tear, typically we're looking at like 10 months to a year recovery time. I don't know what's in Giannis Antetokounmpo's mind. I don't know what's in Milwaukee management's mind, but that's a significant gap for a window that is closing, it appears, in Milwaukee.
Yeah, but for me, being a close friend and former teammate of Dame's, your heart goes out to him because you understand what he's gone through just to get to the opportunity to have Giannis as a teammate to potentially compete for a championship. That was his only goal leaving Portland, and he has that opportunity. Then you got the blood clots. He overcomes that. Mm-hmm. Knowing Dame the way I know Dame, nothing's going to keep him out of postseason. So you have to ask yourself, now we here. The moment is what it is because you have prevented that. I don't know. It wasn't going to be Dame's call. It had to be the medicals team's call because Dame's going to play no matter what.
Right.
But moving forward, what it is unknown. But for his psyche, you understand what's next for him in his career.
Yeah.
And Giannis, throughout the game, you can see him on the bench kind of daydreaming, kind of thinking about what's next, what's happening, because the shift is so quickly. Getting Dame back for this series, it gives you momentum. And to lose him suddenly to an injury, we know it's going to be out for the season, for the rest of the playoffs, and you're facing elimination. There's a lot of changes in Milwaukee coming.
There's so many unknowns about this, and medical technology gets better all the time. This used to be an injury that could potentially end a career or at least hobble a player to a degree that he felt like he was done. Isaiah Thomas, our colleague here, went through that, came back and said he was never the same, and it essentially shortened his career. We don't know what's going to happen there. It is interesting to note that the Bucks just re-upped John Horst, their general manager. I think that was announced like 3 or 4 days ago to an extension. He'll be running the show there. Does that mean convincing Giannis that he wants to stick around long term? Does that mean changing up the roster in some radical way and hope the Dame comes back at full strength next spring? These are all unknowables at this point, but right now it's a tough night in Milwaukee.
It's a very tough night, and you look down this list of players that had with Lillard not being in. Of course, Porter Jr. had a great game.
Kevin Porter Jr.
Yeah. But it's still a team that's like sort of in a tornado. They like going from round to round to round. Where are they going to go with this team? I think about when they changed coaching staff and they had a good record. And sometimes when you have things that happen to you, it's almost like the basketball guy says, why are you doing this? Now we're going to send all these things at you and see if you're able to overcome these obstacles. And I feel like with Giannis there, people want to play with Giannis because when you talk about individuals in this league that play with a passion, that play hard, he's at the top of that list of the guys who play and give their all each and every night. Who would want to go there and play when you got guys on that team that play so hard defense? You got Lopez. That's one of the keys, too. What are they going to do with Lopez? Can you trade him, get some pieces for him? You got so many ways they can go, but it's all going to be up to what Giannis wants and how they're going to proceed in that direction.
Giannis is 30 years of age. He's got minimum 2 years left on his current contract and a player option beyond that. Damian Lillard is 34. He, too, has 2 years left. One of those is a player option for about $112 million over the 2 years. Again, we can guess all we want what's going to happen with Milwaukee. It appears Damian Lillard is done for this series and for the foreseeable future, and there will be big decisions to be made in the summertime. none of that is to short what the Indiana Pacers did tonight, which offensively was remarkable because they got whatever they wanted, or they were a machine.
You talk about the Pacers, no coincidence they played with pace. They play two-point guards in the backcourt. They play fast. The outlets are quick, even on made baskets, they're pushing it down the court. And they're looking to attack the paint to kick out for others. They play very unselfish. And around the perimeter, they encourage their guys and empower their guys to shoot the open shot. Move it until you find it. And when they put that type of pressure on you, it forces you on the other end to have to be efficient on offense. And if not, it's back to transition. And that's what the Pacers do well. We talked about Carlisle. We talked about players developing and getting better. Coach Carlisle has gotten better. He's adjusted to the game. He's let his players play more. He's put infrastructure and a structure around it, and the trust is amazing. Instead of controlling every possession, he lets them play.
Yeah, when you look at the shots down, he got 10, 13, 14, 11, 10 shots. That's sharing the basketball. That means you're giving multiple guys chances to score. And I look at offenses throughout the league now. A lot of guys depend on outside shots. Sometimes you come down, you're post Turner, you're post Siakam. And sometimes you as a team, they're scoring, we're going to double team it. That's leading to open shots for Nembhard, all these guys on the team. And I love it when a team says, no, we're just not going to depend on the perimeter game. We're going to depend on the inside game. And the other thing they need to talk about is their ability to defend the basket. There was some amazing shot blocking going on, and every shot that was taken was contested. That's always been one of the things you teach kids from the day they start playing, contest shots. And they were good contests, not contests where they kind of go through the player and actually block the shot. It's just a verticality test, a contest to say, hey, we're going to make it hard on you. And so when you got teams that are locked in like Pacers, when the defensive end and the offensive end, it's hard to beat a team.
Pacers had 7 blocks tonight, 4 of those from Miles Turner, and they recorded 36 assists. That ties the Oklahoma City Thunder for the most in any playoff game this young postseason so far. Tyrese Halliburton finished with 15 of those dishes to go with his 17 points. Let's hear from him.
I feel like we're doing a good job of, really paying attention, and our coaching staff is amazing at making adjustments, but I think where we're really taking the next step is just holding each other accountable. And that's a really big thing for a young team and what we're doing. And I really feel like we're holding each other accountable, and, that's getting good results.
Thanks for stopping. Nice job tonight.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Let's take you inside Fiserv Forum and hear from Tyrese Halliburton's head coach, Rick Carlisle.
Tragic. And, I have such great respect for him, competing all those years in the West and then last couple of years. So it's just very solemn news. So thoughts and prayers. And as far as the game, I thought our attention to detail was better in this game than the last. Our guys focused and concentrated. There were difficult stretches, but we stayed with our brand of basketball and did some very good things. And so, we've got to get home and get rested. The next game is 6 p.m. on Tuesday. It's a quick turnaround, and we're going to need to be ready, and we're going to need our fans to have Gamebridge, louder than it's ever been.
Rick, what did Miles Turner's start for you guys mean for setting the tone tonight and the way he played the rest of the way?
I just thought the team functioned so much better tonight, just in terms of our ball movement, our cutting, our passing, and those guys created problems. And Miles was in prime position to take advantage in a lot of those situations early. And defensively, we were more locked in tonight. I mean, Giannis is impossible. Let's just be honest about it. It's just, he's an impossible guy to guard. You can't guard him straight up.